The younger you are when you learn how to manage and invest your money, the better off you'll be throughout your life. So, today, I'm going to teach you the 9 absolute crucial money principles for building wealth while you're young. I've used these same principles to make many millions of dollars. If they worked for me, I know that they can work for you. So without further ado, let's dive in. Rule number 1, maintain awareness of your financial accounts. I cannot stress this enough. One of the main reasons people go broke is because they're not paying attention to their financial accounts. A lot of people are out there swiping their credit and debit cards without checking to see how their bank accounts are being affected. I remember having that same trait when I was younger. I just didn't want to look. I want you guys to think about this famous saying. The first step towards change is awareness. I want you to start changing your financial situation by maintaining a high level of awareness for all of your financial accounts. Try to look at all of your accounts every single day. How much money do you have in your checking account? How much money do you have in your savings account? How much of your available credit have you used this month? You should know the answers to these questions every day. Some people avoid looking at their financial accounts because they want to remain in denial about what is actually happening. When I was in my early 20s, I admit I was one of these people. When I started paying more attention to my bank accounts and credit accounts, that's when things started to shift in the right direction for me. Let's move on to step number 2. Live below your means. Once you increase your awareness of what is going on in your financial accounts, the next step is to actually live below your means. This means curbing your expenses to ensure that they are beneath your income. If you make $5,000 per month, your expenses should be well below $5,000 per month. This is a basic level of financial discipline that you need to master in order to start building wealth. For some of you watching my videos, this may mean doing things like living with roommates and parents instead of by yourself, buying used cars instead of new ones, canceling a lot of these subscriptions and using other people's subscriptions instead of your own. When you're really young, and if you don't have a family of your own yet, then you should really be focused on sacrifice and optimizing your savings by living beneath your means, as opposed to spending significant amounts of money on luxuries like high-end vacations, exotic cars, and fancy watches. The goal is to put yourself in the right situation so that you can afford these things later on in life. If you do things right, then there is a good chance you'll be able to afford these things later on. So please, understand what your amount of monthly income is and make sure that you do not spend more than that amount. This will allow you to start growing your bank account month by month. Step number 3, avoid stacking bad debt. There are 2 types of debt: good debt, bad debt. Good debt is any debt that helps you make more money over time and generally leads to a better financial situation. This includes student loans for college degrees and small business loans and mortgages for investment properties. But bad debt is any debt that doesn't help to increase your income or improve your financial situation over time, which typically revolves around credit card debt, store card debt, personal loans for lifestyle upgrades. This is what destroys people. One of the worst things about bad debt is that it often carries the highest interest rates in the world. For example, the average interest rate right now for a credit card in 2025 is 22%. So be extremely conscious about the kinds of debt you're taking on. Try to avoid stacking up bad debt and only take on good debt if you genuinely believe it will lead to a better financial situation for you in your future. This doesn't mean you shouldn't use your credit cards ever. In fact, using a small portion of your available credit on your credit cards and paying the entire amount off every single month is actually a great way to build your credit and increase your credit score. If you use your credit card regularly, you can also get access to points. Both of these things are extremely beneficial to building your wealth. Now, I'm simply saying, don't stack up so much credit card debt that you get way behind on these payments and you're struggling massively to catch up due to the high interest rates. Instead, you have to learn how the credit game works and play it the right way. Build an emergency fund. Step number 4. One of the single best ways to avoid going into bad debt is to have an emergency fund. Sometimes emergencies do happen. Here's the thing. If you do not have enough cash on hand to pay for the expenses that are necessary to deal with the emergency, then you might have to use a lot of credit from your credit cards to cover the cost. This is what we are trying to avoid. Focus on building an emergency fund of at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. You can put this fund into a high-yield savings account to help optimize the amount of interest you can accumulate from this account. But remember, when I say emergency, I'm talking about serious things like totaling your car, going to the hospital for an emergency surgery, getting fired from your job, things that caused a sudden and massive problem in your life that absolutely must be solved. I'm not talking about things like your brother asking you to write him a check because he really wants to go on a vacation with his friends to Fort Lauderdale for spring break. If you want to build wealth young, you need to be able to say no and practice discretion and allow people to have accountability for their own financial decisions. This doesn't mean you can't help your loved ones when they genuinely need it. It just means you understand that building your own wealth is an important priority too, and to eventually help them massively. The nicest thing about building wealth is that once you have the wealth, you'll be able to spend more on your friends and family if you want to, but you have to get there first, which takes incredible amounts of discipline. This is what's going to separate you from other people. Hopefully you'll never need to use your emergency funds, but it's far better to be prepared ahead of time in case you do, so build it. Step number 5, study investing. For many people, learning to invest correctly is a major part of building wealth. This is because when you invest correctly, your money can work for you. You can buy assets that appreciate in value over time or generate cash flow, and these assets can help to grow your net worth significantly. However, a lot of young people just start investing before they know anything about it. When I was young, I did this exact same thing too. I basically opened up accounts on Robinhood and Coinbase. I was just throwing money at everything. I bought a bunch of individual stocks without really knowing what I was doing. If you are young right now, then one of the best things you can do for yourself is to study investing. Learn what an index fund is. Learn what the S&P 500 is. Understand what kinds of returns you can get with certain investments. Understand the differences between stocks, bonds, and commodities. Of course, some things can only be learned through experience, but at the very least, you should have an idea of the investing basics before you even get started. Step number 6, invest early and consistently. Once you have learned the basics of investing and once you feel you are ready to start, then go ahead, jump in. What are we waiting for? The longer that you invest, the more money that you can make. And this is because good investments will appreciate over time. Bad investments don't. So of course, the more years that you have exposure, the more price appreciation your assets will experience. Many people reach retirement only to wish that they had invested more money when they were younger so that their assets would have been twice, 3 times the amount of appreciation and value. Don't be one of these people. Start early, but only once your income is high enough to justify investing. And remember, dollar cost averaging a few dollars here and a few dollars there isn't going to get the job done. Once the wealthy decide on an investment, they will contribute sizable amounts of money to it. I'm talking thousands of dollars. For example, a savvy investor might drop thousands of dollars into the S&P 500 or into an index that tracks the top tech companies or into gold or into a real estate opportunity. The wealthy understand the power of portfolio income, which is income that you earn from your investing portfolio. Investments can grow without you having to put in additional effort. You buy them once, and then they help to boost your net worth for years. Long-term capital gains income that you earn from your investment portfolio tends to receive better tax treatment than ordinary income. The wealthy are well aware of this, and you should be well aware of this. One of the main differences between people who achieve wealth and people who don't is that the wealthy are not afraid to deploy large amounts of capital into investments with great tax treatment. In fact, they set up their lives to be able to deploy this capital. Instead of buying cars, houses, vacations, and other luxuries they can't afford in their early 20s, they buy assets that generate cash flow and appreciation and value over time, and these assets help them to afford luxuries later on in life. Being wise with your money is about being patient and delaying gratification. Spend money acquiring high-quality assets now, and then assets can continue providing you value for years or even decades to come. Step number 7, diversify your income. When you're in your 20s, of course, you should focus on starting your career and increasing your income as much as possible. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't also create other streams of income. The problem with only having one income stream is that if you lose it, your income drops to 0, and then you are in a world of trouble. So I highly recommend that you create at least one other income stream if possible. There are many different ways to create different sources of income. For example, you can invest in dividend stocks that pay you dividends on a regular basis. You can create a side hustle if you want to, and you can build a personal business, or you can invest your money into real estate that provides stable cash flow. In addition to providing cash flow, real estate investments also have incredible tax benefits. After you finish this video, just watch this one right here if you want to learn a little bit more about the tax benefits of real estate investing. The bottom line is that if you have more than one income stream, you will be significantly more financially resilient and be able to better cope in case something goes wrong with your primary income source. Step number 8, get a good credit score. Having a good credit score matters. It really does. And here's why. When you have a good credit score, it is much easier to get access to credit. So if you want to get some good debt, such as a business loan or a mortgage loan or buy an investment property, you'll have a much easier time doing so if you have a great credit score. Having a great credit score can also save you a fortune on interest. And this is because lenders tend to give people with better credit scores lower interest rates because they represent a lower risk profile. Generally speaking, you want to pay the least amount of money possible in interest. The less money you have to pay in interest, the more money you can spend growing a business, investing in stocks, investing in real estate, paying off other debts, building equity. Do not underestimate the importance of having a good credit score. And remember, if you do start a business, you'll need to be mindful of your business credit score. A business credit score tracks the credit worthiness of your business. Just as a personal credit score tracks the personal credit worthiness, having a good personal credit score and a good business credit score can open up a lot of doors for you and make your life a lot easier. I remember when I was growing Tax Alchemy, I had my personal credit on point, and then I applied for a business credit card. And because of the fact that my business credit card was getting so much utilization and I was paying it off very quickly, they reached out to me and gave me a business line of credit for $500,000. I took that line of credit and started hiring employees and grew the company because the investment of me spending that money at that interest rate made sense and it grew my company. And this is why I believe in making sure you focus on building your business credit in combination with your personal credit as well. Step number 9, invest in tax strategy. As you start moving through your 20s and into your 30s, hopefully your income will increase. A lot of young people don't fully understand the tax consequences of having your income increase. Here's what I want you to know. We have what's called a progressive tax system here in the United States, which means that as your income increases, so does the rate at which you pay taxes. So the government takes a larger percentage of your income in the form of taxes as you make more and more and more money. You're essentially working more and more for the government. The government takes so much money in taxes that for many people, taxes are their single greatest lifelong expense. It is exactly for this reason that investing in tax strategy is crucial. There are many legal moves that you can make to dramatically reduce your tax liability. Learning how to use tax strategies becomes more and more important as your income increases. High earners who neglect tax strategy pay 37% in federal income taxes and can be up to 40 to 50% when you combine state and federal together, depending on your state. If you want to learn more about tax strategy, I have hundreds of videos about it on my channel. Feel free to watch some of these to boost your knowledge. You can also reach out to my team by just clicking the link in the description below to book a free tax assessment call. We'd be more than happy to determine if it makes sense for you to do tax planning based on your income level. Okay, now it's time for me to answer a question from one of my subscribers. This question was asked by Alicia Wembley 4258 on my How to Write Off a Home Office Legally video. Please make sure that you watch that video if you haven't watched it. The question was, if you use an RA, a registered agent, to keep your home business address private, can you still claim it as a home business? Yes, the answer is yes. If you're working from home, use a home business address or a virtual address, you can still claim your home office deduction. Great question. I'm glad you asked it. Okay, guys, that's all I got for today's video. As always, don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.